That was a complete game from the Washington Huskies just now. I think that's the best compliment you can pay to the Huskies after a really nice Apple Cup performance to cap off a disappointing regular season. 31-13, the Apple Cup remains in Seattle for one more year. And hey, I gotta say it, Jimmy Lake, you are the real MVP today because I mean, I said it in my pregame video. This defense has always done great against the Cougars' air raid offense, but is this the year where it ends? Because the defense isn't very good. The defense has lost a lot of talent and hasn't replaced it yet. Is this finally the year where the air raid looks like the air raid when they play the Huskies? And the answer was no, not even close. So this Huskies defense, which has really not been a very good defense this year, I'm not going to say it was terrible this year, but it wasn't good. It lacked star power. This defense went out there today and looked just like they did last year or the year before or the year before that when they went up against the Mike Leach Cougars. And hey, don't get me wrong, that first drive, I was like, yeah, I was afraid of this. You know, the game started out, Cougars got the ball, they marched down the field. Just, 5 yards, 8 yards, 10 yards, 4 yards, just chunking their way down the field, getting in the end zone. I was like, yeah, I was afraid of that. This might be the game that I was afraid of. And then we get the ball, and immediately Jacob Eason's running for his life back there in the pocket. I think he got sacked twice to start this game. And I was watching the defensive lines of both teams early, and our defensive line was getting no pressure on Gordon, and the Cougars defensive line was getting all over Eason, and I was like, okay, I think this might be the year. This might be the year where, despite all the disappointments of this season for the Cougars, they're at least going to get it on us. They're going to get one on us and end their season on a good note because our defense, it doesn't look like it's the same. And then for the whole rest of the game, same old Cougars. We got pressure on the quarterback on that second drive. We ended the drive on a third down sack, got the ball back. Eason hit Bynum for a big play over the top, the 57-yarder. That drive ended in a touchdown. And the Cougars, for the whole rest of that game, they could move the ball a little bit. They were able to get on, plus side of the field, but they couldn't finish drives. They kicked a couple field goals. They had 3 turnovers. And it could have been the same game that we saw last year, the year before, on and on and on. So hats off to Jimmy Lake because he's got the magic game plan to make sure that this Cougars team cannot hurt us. I will say that Anthony Gordon made some very bad throws in this game. He had at least 5 or 6 that were just like, wow, you know, if you want to say it was the interceptions, both interceptions were trash throws. If you want to say it was the intentional grounding on third down where the ball seemed like it got stuck in his hand, that was how bad the throw was. Or even the final last gasp fourth down with a couple minutes left in the game where he threw it to the end zone and there was no Cougar within 20 yards of that ball. There were just a whole bunch of plays where Anthony Gordon looked like he was not ready for this game. And quite honestly, Borgie on the ground intimidated me a lot more than Anthony Gordon through the air today. Gordon obviously completed his passes. He completed 50 passes today almost. Threw for 300 yards, but you will not see a more inefficient game from a quarterback this year. He needed 62 attempts to crack the 300. 62 attempts. I will live with that, especially when you're turning the ball over and you're missing throws in the red zone. He missed several throws today in the red zone. So I will give that. I will say Anthony Gordon made it easier for us, but I was happy with this defense today. They tackled pretty well. The coverage was good against a good fleet of Cougar receivers. I'm happy with this defense today. And starting midway through the second quarter and throughout most of the rest of the game, we got pressure. After that first quarter and a half where we didn't breathe on Anthony Gordon but one time, we started getting pressure on him and he couldn't handle it. When we got pressure on him, he was running around scrambling for his life. He's got no mobility really to speak of. He's not one of the kind of quarterback who can take off and run for a 20-yard gain or anything like that. So he just didn't really have an answer for that. And they basically, it was a lot like the Cowboys game yesterday. They scored on the opening drive and it looked like here we go, and then they were never able to replicate that success again. So huge shout out to Jimmy Lake. Big shout out to everybody on defense, really. I think that was just an excellent game. And that makes me feel a lot better about the coaching staff after what I had to watch last week. Offense, good enough. Jacob Eason, I was doubting the kid. I was thinking to myself, I don't believe in this guy anymore. I don't know if he has passion for the game. I don't know, and I still don't. But for one day, he was solid. He missed a couple throws. I think he had Hunter Bryant wide open on one play, and he just overthrew him. Might have overthrown another pass, but he hit some nice passes today. The deep shot to Bynum, the Hunter Bryant stuff off play action was great. We need to work that over and over and over again in our bowl game because play action passes to Hunter Bryant, that's tough to deal with. And the tight ends today were awesome, by the way. Hunter Bryant, obviously, but Cade Otton was also awesome. Offensive line settled down and was better as the game went on. Salvon Ahmed had a nice game. The offense wasn't great or anything. I mean, we didn't have the ball that much. We did punt the ball a few times. We had the one turnover where, in my opinion, the guy probably should have been whistled down for, his forward progress being stopped. But it was just a solid effort from the offense. The offense gave the team a chance to win. That's all you can ask for. So I'm happy. The Apple Cup remains in Seattle where it belongs. And no matter how low we get, this air raid offense of the Washington Cougars cannot hurt us. Just seems like it, Washington, honestly, today, the crazy thing is, if you take out the Aaron Gordon sacks, which are stupidly counted as running plays, the Cougars averaged more yards per rush than per pass. And think about who the Cougars are. I mean, that's insane. A lot of the passes they completed, by the way, I mean, I gave Gordon credit for completing 48 passes. A lot of the passes he completed were little checkdowns to Borgie. So, shit you can live with. So, yeah. Good game. Good way to close out the season. We got one more game. We don't know who it's going to be against yet. It's not going to be a great bowl game, but it is going to be a bowl game. And I'm happy the team did show up today. And I think we played a complete game. And I don't know if we've done that in the last month or so, maybe even more. So, got to give a lot of praise to those guys. I'm getting out of here. I'm going to go watch basketball the rest of the day. Bow down to Washington. 7 wins. It's not the season that we wanted, but it's the season that we got. Peace.